New Jersey did it. New Jersey did it.
Hey. Welcome. The Road to a Million show is back. I'm Daron C Campbell, your real estate mentor. Hey, tribe. There's my my Facebook Live tribe. There's everybody else, the YouTube gang. Everybody, we are back. After a short absence, we are back, and we got some action-packed shows coming up for you. It's going to be a fun month, and then watch out. 2020 is going to be a magnificent, spectacular year. Plan on it. Expect it. We're gonna come at you strong. We're gonna buy Speedy a house. We're gonna repair your credit. We're gonna give you investment opportunities like you've never seen before. It's time to turn the corner. It's time to get our act together. It's time, because time is going fast, you guys, and life goes fast, and opportunity is fleeting, and it's time we got our stuff together. Come on. You know it is. You've been goofing off. I've been goofing off. Speedy been goofing off his whole life. Everybody's goofing off. It's time we turn the corner. It's time. I'm ready. I'm here to facilitate the change, and that means you, and that means you, and that means me. And let's do this in a new way. I'm Daron C Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate, your real estate mentor. I'm here to help you grow your business. I'm here to help you turn the corner. I'm here to help you plan for your financial future. Let's go. All right. We're dedicating this show to my man, Don. Rest in peace, Don. Beautiful ceremony the other day. We're going to miss that man. Well, let me tell you, we're going to miss him in a big way, but we're going to dedicate getting better to him. Now, it's your opportunity to change your life, and you see how fragile life is. We all know how fragile life is, and we also know how fleeting life is. How old are you now? Right. You didn't remember, did you? Every time I think about how old I am, I think maybe I'm 30-something. 30 was a long time ago already. I think about my high school buddies, Angie and the gang that went to Dorsey High with me. That seems like a couple years ago. Man, we're coming up on reunion number 30, 35? What? So look, time goes by fast. And so what you need to do is set your priority. Singular. Priority. Not priorities, priority. Where are you going, and what is the best way for you to start getting there? Ladies and gentlemen, 2020's got to be your year. And if you don't do something about it, 2020's going to come and go just like 2019 did. Let's make some things happen. So I want to talk to you today about setting your goals, and then I want to talk to you about the best way to do it. But check this out. I'm going to do this great giveaway. One of the best books I have ever read is called The One Thing. The One Thing by Gary Keller. And what I want to do is I want to give this book to somebody today. But what I need you to do in return, in order to qualify for the giveaway, is I want you to hit the like button. I want you to hit the subscribe button. I want you to hit the little bell so that you get notified every time we go live or put some new content up. And did I say like, subscribe? Oh, and comment. Feel free to make comments. Please say something. YouTube wants to know, Facebook wants to know that you give a damn about this show, that you care about this show. So I'm going to bribe you. I'm going to give somebody The One Thing book, one of the best things I've ever read, one of the best books I've ever read. It's in my top, I'd say it's in my top 10. And so I want to give it to somebody today. But in return, do me a favor. Go to the Road to a Million Show on YouTube. Even you guys over here on Facebook, I need you to do it. Go to YouTube, go to Road to a Million Show, hit like, hit subscribe, click that little bell. I didn't know what that little bell was, but that little bell is a notification that you'll get every time we go on with some new stuff. And then make a comment. Say, like the show, DC. Say, hate the show, DC. Say, damn, DC, that was insightful. Say something. We're trying to grow. We're trying to grow the show, and I need your help. Can you guys help me out? All right, and I'm going to give somebody The One Thing by Gary Keller. And I'll give this book away. I'll sign the book to you, but you got to subscribe, and you got to let me know who you are. So in the chat, say who you are. Say, I just subscribed, and we're going to have Marlon pick a name, and I'm going to ship you the book. How about that? Cool? Cool. I like it. I like it. So we're going to get into setting our goals for 2020. Did you set your goals? I think Thanksgiving weekend is the perfect time to set your goals for next year. And the question is, did you do it? If you haven't, now's a good time. It's early December. If you wait until January 1st to set your goals for the year, it's too late, because it takes you some time to kind of get into some new habits. It takes you some time to get those things in place. It takes you some time to get ramped up. You don't want it to be February before your goals start pushing out. You want to start, plan them now. And I'm going to give you some help with that, because we're going to talk about this book today. But plan it now. Write it down now. Let's start a vision board now. And let's make 2020 start happening on January 1st. So if you wait till then to think about it, it's too late. You start getting a resolution on January 1st, then it takes you till January 5th to get that all cleaned up, then it takes you till February 1st to put those pieces into place. Forget that. Let's get a head start on it. Let's plan your 2020 right now. Now, we're going to go into some advanced goal setting in a second, and then we're going to narrow that all the way down, and then that's where this book is going to come into play. But in the beginning, why don't we just start with this? Here's what I believe you should do, and the way I think goals ought to be mapped out. Okay, think about that like this. If you got a pen and paper, maybe this is a good time for you to take a note or two, or this will always be recorded so you can go back and rewatch it. But here's how I think you ought to start. Take some time, get quiet with yourself, and think, where do I want to be? What do I want my life to look like in 5 years? 5 years? You say, Daron, 5 years? I don't even know what I'm eating for lunch today. What are you talking about, 5 years? Listen, just roll with me on this. If you think about what you would like your life to look like in 5 years. Now, here's your chance to be aggressive, to be ambitious. Look, you can make anything, and I mean anything, happen in 5 years. Let me give you a story real quick. I have a friend who started a business. He saw Steve Jobs say something on television about the iPhone. He thought of a business. He thought of a business that he could take the tools and the features that the iPhone had with geographic tracking, or how you can see where people are or whatever, and he thought of a business. He thought of that business. He went about the business of creating that business, and 7 short years later, sold the business for $240 million. 7 years from zero, an idea, to $250 million. In the 4th year, I believe it was in the 4th year, he had gotten to the point where he had 1 million subscribers paying $49 a month for this thing he created. And then in year 7, somebody wrote him a check for $240 million. So the point I'm trying to make is anything can be accomplished in 5 years. So first thing you're going to do is write down, what do I want my life to look like in 5 years? Okay, so 5-year goal. So I'm gonna roll with you, and let's just map some things out. 5 years out. And you don't have to be shy about this, because again, if a man could go to $250 million in 7 years, you can certainly go to where you're trying to go in 5, right? So let's just do some let's play a game with it. Let's assume I have a coaching student. So I'm not gonna name the person whose goals these are, but I'm gonna share them with you. Okay, so this person said, okay, Daron, in 5 years, man, I want to have a lot of money. I want to seriously be consistently earning $1 million a year. I said, absolutely possible. $1 million a year in income. Totally doable. Totally doable. Trust me, I have helped people get to $1 million in annual income, and it is not impossible. As a matter of fact, the real estate office that I ran a few years back, before we sold it, we had 11 people. We had 11 people earning over $1 million in that office, and we had over 30 people making over $500,000 in that office. So when I tell you it's doable, this is totally doable. You too can do it. So that goal of earning $1 million a year consistently by the 5th year is totally doable. Now, okay, so when you say, okay, I want to be earning $1 million a year, we'll break that down into, because what you have to do at that point is we'll start to analyze that $1 million a year. You can't just, because what you got to do is you got to dream in color. And I want to try to show you some ways to sort of dream in color. When you say I want to earn $1 million a year, it's just a fantasy if you don't start to crystallize it and make some realistic adjustments that can actually make that possible. So don't stop your thinking at, I want to earn $1 million a year. Now take that $1 million a year and brainstorm it into some things that might be able to feasibly help you get there. So, for instance, if you are, let's say, if you work at the public library, do we still have libraries? Do they even exist? If you work at the public library and you make $35,000 a year, and you say, I want to earn $1 million a year in 5 years, what do we know for a fact? You ain't gonna earn $1 million a year working at the library, right? So what do you need to do? You need to start thinking of the kinds of professions or careers you might have that could potentially get you to $1 million a year. You see, if you're, like, for instance, for myself, when I was at UCLA and decided that, oh my God, I do not want to be a doctor, I can't stand the hospital. When I figured that out, I also thought to myself, well, but I still want to be a very, very highly paid individual. And I thought to myself, well, what do I really like? What am I interested in? And then the circle kept looping, and money was the theme. I thought to myself, I love money. I love everything about it. That was when I decided, okay, well, in order to take advantage of the fact that I love all things money, and I'm so intrigued by all things money, I switched my major from biology, pre-med biology, and changed it to economics. What did that do? What that really did was started opening a new avenue in my brain to get me exposed to microeconomics and macroeconomics. It opened some new doors, some new windows, some new avenues in my brain, and that started showing me some of the things about the world of money, the world of economics, and all of the things that are related to it, right? So then that started exposing me to other things like investment banking and economies of the world and the gross domestic product and the gross and the GDP of other countries, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, that led me down some other paths. Well, along the way, I discovered that number one, real estate has created more wealth than any other industry and any other asset class in the history of planet Earth. So my wheels about real estate started turning a little faster and my intrigue grew. Anyway, so I break that down to you to say, you got to decide where your affinity is, what you like to do, what you enjoy doing, but that also has the possibility of giving you that unlimited income. So when this person said to me, $1 million a year is what I want to earn, the first question you got to ask yourself is, am I in a place where $1 million a year is feasible in 5 years? Is it doable? Okay, so a lot of you who watch this show are real estate professionals, so we know it's doable in the real estate world. I could point out 20 real estate agents who make over $1 million a year that I got right here in this phone right here. I could call 5 of them right now. It totally is doable, is the point. So if it's totally doable, then that's step one. Can I get there from here? So a real estate agent or a mortgage broker could definitely get to $1 million a year from here. So the first question you just asked yourself is, can I get there from here? If you're a real estate agent, if you're a mortgage professional, if you own your own business that has that possibility, then the answer is yes. If you are a librarian working for the Los Angeles Public Library, the answer is no. So then you have to evaluate, how do I make an adjustment so that I can put myself in a position so that I can grow to $1 million a year in 5 years? Does that make sense? Because see, I think some people are unrealistic when they say, I want to be a millionaire or I want to earn $1 million, but they work at the public library. So what do you want? You want to hit the lotto? I told you about the lotto, right? It's 1 in 13,687,000 that you're going to hit the lottery. So you save the dollar and invest in your education or something. Go buy a book instead, because they say that you got a better chance of getting struck by lightning twice rather than win the lottery. So you're going to get struck by lightning before you win the lottery. So forget that. Toss that out. Let's put yourself in a position where the income you want is even possible. And a lot of people have trouble thinking 5 years out because, you got issues today. You got problems today. But let me tell you this. Nothing about success is instant. So get the instant thing out of your head and start thinking bigger. So the first goal is, what do I want my life to look like in 5 years? All right? Now, so you put down your income goal, but don't just stop at income. So this person said $1 million a year. I said, okay, we can get there from here. I got no problem with that. Now let's talk about your health and fitness. Hello? Is that important? What is my health and fitness like? What do I weigh? For this person, it's like, I want to weigh 175 pounds instead of 221. Okay, 175 pounds. All right, so you write that down. That's how I want to look when I'm earning $1 million a year. I want to weigh 175 pounds. I want to be lean. I want to be, and then we add to that. I want to be athletic. I want to be able to work out every day because they're not working out right now. They want to be athletic. They want to be lean. They want to be fit. They want to be athletic. They want to look their best, and they want to earn $1 million a year. Okay, that's beautiful. And I said, okay, now how about family and family. Well, like how do you want your family to be? Well, I want all my kids to be in college. This is what they're saying to me. This is my case study, one of my coaching clients. All kids are in college or have graduated college because they're right in the high school age right now, and to be on their way to their own good career. Okay, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Now you've made a goal related to family. All right, so finances, health and fitness, and family. All right, and then I say, look, nothing we're doing is worth planning for if you don't give yourself the rewards. So I said, give me the fun category. What is it you'll be doing for fun 5 years out? Okay, and they said, well, I want to take 3 major vacations a year by then, and I want to be able to do that and take a week at a time, but 3 different times a year, and go on an all expense, no holds barred, just live it up vacation 3 times a year. Okay, outstanding. Can you get there from here? Absolutely, yes, you can. Okay, so we talked about finances, we talked about health and fitness, we talked about family, and we talked about fun. I think those are like the main categories that you should address every time you set your goals. So in the 5-year department, let's hit all those now. And look, go ahead and be aggressive. Remember, my friend got to $250 million in 7 short years. You can have all these things. Don't be shy. Don't be scared. If your goal is more than $1 million a year, if your goal is more than a $1 million net worth, write it down. Don't be scared. You say 10 million. A lot of people feel guilty. It's like, man, people gonna think I'm crazy if I say 10 million. Or like a lot of times I lead these vision board parties, and I say, like, what do you really, really want? And somebody says, well, I put down $500,000. I go, but is that what you really, really, really want? They're like, well, I really want $5 million, but I didn't want anybody thinking, I was kind of crazy. It's not crazy. It's not crazy. I just told you about a guy who got to $240 million in just 7 years. You don't think you can get to 10 million in 5? Absolutely, you can. So be aggressive. Run with it. This is have fun with this. Okay. So don't be shy. Next, you take the 5-year goals and you hit all those categories, and then I want you to do it again for your 3-year goals. Now, clearly, your 3-year goals are going to be a little less ambitious than your 5-year goals, right? But do your 3-year goals next. And same categories. I want you to do your financial, I want you to do your health and fitness, and I want you to do your family and loved ones. You don't have to be related to them, but friends and family. And then I want you to address your fun. And that could involve your friends and family. Usually it does. But I want you to address each of those because I want you to imagine, picture, then write down what that looks like. And be specific. Dream in color. It's very, very important that you dream in color. And so like, for instance, if you want like your fitness, you don't want to just say I want to be in shape. You want to say, hey, I want to weigh 175 pounds. I want to have 12% body fat. I want to, get specific. Don't just be like, hey, I want to be in good shape. Get specific. Dream in color. Don't just say, hey, I want to have fun with my friends and family. Say, no, I want to take my kids to the Caribbean in the summer, and I want to take them to Europe in the winter. And the places I want to go in Europe are Paris, England, and Germany. I mean, get as specific as you like, and there are no rules otherwise. You can have it all. It's all available to you. And if you put that in your subconscious, you write this down, you dream in color, guess what happens? You don't even believe me when I tell you this, but your brain will start going to work on these things. Your brain will start helping you figure out the pathway to get you to these things while you sleep. It's amazing how it works. So I want you to do it in color. If your goal in 3 years is to drive a Lamborghini, what color Lamborghini? You got to get real about it. I want a white Lamborghini with the black spiderweb seats. That's what's up. dream in color. And then we're going to take this to another level because you're going to do a vision board that's going to help you visualize this stuff. But anyway, so 3-year goals, I want you to do your financial, your fitness, your family, and your fun. Now, step 3, break those goals down to your 1-year goal. Okay, so 1 year from now. So if in 5 years I'm making $1 million a year, in 1 year, how much am I making? Get real with this. Be realistic with this. In 1 year, if you're gonna look, right now, you know we're close to making your $1 million a year, right? So is it realistic for you to go from $80,000 this year to $1 million next? It might be for some people, but for most people, success doesn't happen like that. It's incremental. So if you currently make $75,000 a year and your goal in year 5 is to be making $1 million a year consistently, then maybe it's a little more realistic for you to say, in 1 year, I will have made $250,000, right? Because again, the first thing you're gonna ask yourself after you say this thing, so let's say 1 year, if your goal is to be $1 million a year earner in 5, then next year, you ought to hit the 250 mark. And then I say you were well on your way to that $1 million goal, right? It's kind of not realistic. Very few people go from 0 to $1 million a year. Those are kind of exceptions to the rule. What I find is that most success happens in increments. So you put the thing in place or put yourself in a position so that $1 million is possible. Well, in year 1 of this intentional stuff, you make $250,000. And then in year 2, this is how the trajectory of my coaching students has gone. In year 1, you make $250,000. In year 2, you get to $350,000 or $400,000. In year 3, you see this big jump and you go to $550,000 or $600,000. And then in year 4, you find leverage and you find opportunities to get you do exponential growth. And by year 4, so 250, 350, 600, you hit 750 in year 4. And by the end of year 4, you got this thing wired, and $1 million in year 5 is totally doable. That's really the more realistic path to the kind of money we all dream about. I'm just giving you a dose of how this can happen step by step, incrementally, not overnight. And you know what else it helps you out when you think about it like this, so that you don't think to yourself, $1 million is so far from where I am now, I'll never get there, and then people give up. When people find it too ambitious in too short a period of time, then it becomes unrealistic to them, and that's when people give up on their goals. So what really happens, what happened, my buddy who sold his company for $250 million, he didn't make $10 million the first year. He barely made anything the first year, but he built up the momentum, and in year 2, they made $500,000. In year 3, they were able to scale that, and they were making $2.5 to $3 million. In year 4, they made this massive jump, and were making $15 million. And then in year 5, they scaled it again, and they got somewhere to $50 million or some crazy number like that. Anyway, increments, and then by year 7, the enterprise value was insane, and somebody wrote them the stupid check for $250 million. So success for you will happen incrementally, but the beautiful thing about that is the increments get exponential over time because of your momentum. But it won't happen tomorrow, but once you build the momentum, you start seeing jumps. That's why people jump from 350 to 600 in 1 year, because they start to get leverage and they start to get exponential growth, and you start and your deals start to get deals. Your money starts to get more money. Your efforts start to multiply, and you give your assets legs, and they go out and get more assets. If you're in it, it works that way in investing. Once you get good at it, you learn how your money goes out and makes you more money. You see, and that's when you stop trading your time for money, and you start putting things in place that go out and grab you more money. That's how the game works. So we just went through step number 3. That was the 1 year goal. Okay, now here's the fun part. And don't forget, on the 1 year goal, I didn't go through that. Same departments: financial, fitness, family, fun. I want you to address all of those in each of these steps: year 5, year 3, year 1. And now here's the get real part. If I want to get to where I just said I'm going to get to in year 1, then what is it I need to start doing tomorrow morning? You see, 5, 3, 1 year, tomorrow morning. If I'm going to get to $250,000 by this time next year, how do I begin that process tomorrow morning? Now, if I work at the public library and I know that in year 1 I need to make $250,000 in order to get to year 5 to make $1 million a year, what's the first thing I need to do about my working at the public library? I need to start looking for a career that can get me to where I need to go and find my exit strategy out of this one. Does that make sense? You know, a lot of us really got these great big goals, and you won't get to $1 million in 5 years if you don't start doing something that leads you down that path starting today, starting tomorrow morning. Does that make sense? Okay, so you're going to begin this process now, but in order to keep you from getting frustrated in the process, you got to understand it's a process. It's a process. And if you just follow the process, you will absolutely get there. But along the way, you have to start taking the steps on the journey. The steps, a journey from here to the other side of the world begins with the first step. You can't get frustrated if you're going to set out on a journey to go from Los Angeles to New York, and you take the first step tomorrow. You can't get frustrated that you're not at the Empire State Building by the weekend. It's a process. And like any process, you got to know where you're going so that you're taking the right steps to get there. I think Gary Keller says it in the book, The One Thing, which I'm going to give somebody. He says, he talks about something from, I think, a Dr. Seuss book where the guy goes, hey, so tell me which direction I should go. And the guy goes, well, where are you trying to get to? And he goes, well, I don't really care. And he goes, well, then it doesn't really matter which direction you go in. The fact is, you have to know where you're trying to get to. You have to know where you want to go in order to take the first step in the right direction. If you know you're not satisfied with working at the public library, and you know you want in 5 years to be $1 million a year earner, then you know you got to take some steps to get you there starting now. There's no time like the present. Time flies, especially if you misuse it or abuse it. So you're going to start by taking the first step tomorrow. Your 5-year goal, your 3-year goal, your 1 year goal, and your tomorrow morning goal. Objective, priority. That's what you're going to do, and that's the best way to set goals as far as I'm concerned. And so Thanksgiving weekend is when I tell all of the people that I coach, this is the weekend to make it happen. So Thanksgiving weekend just ended. You still got time. It's still December. January's not here yet. You can still make your plan. And then what I suggest you do is build a vision board. Build a vision board so that you can put the most important things on that board, because here's the thing. We think in pictures. We think in visual. When you think of a door, you don't think of D-O-O-R. You think of a door, right? When I say book, you don't think in words. You don't think B-O-O-K spells book. You think of a book, right? A picture of a book. So vision boards are even more powerful than goals written down, because they help make the dream real. They help make things a little more realistic to you. So when I say dream in color, I mean literally in color. Like cut out a picture of that Lamborghini. Take a picture of that house at the beach. Put a picture of the Eiffel Tower if Europe is where you want to go. These things, they leave an imprint on the mind, and I think it's important that you give yourself a visual aid to help you remember where it is you're trying to go. You see, in order to stay motivated, in order to not get discouraged, you have to continue to remind yourself of where it is you're really trying to go. And if you don't, you'll get discouraged, you'll lose faith, you'll lose hope, you'll get down in the mouth because it's not going fast enough. But if you always know that you're on the path, if you always know that you're headed somewhere, then you can remain motivated. A lot of people say to me, well, Daron, how are you so motivated all the time? Why are you so pumped up all the time? It's because I know I'm on a journey and I know where I'm trying to get to. Am I there yet? Absolutely not. But am I on my way? Absolutely. And you are too. But you got to remind yourself that you're on this journey, you're on this quest. If you watch this show, you're on a mission. Most of the people watching this show are trying to get somewhere. Everybody I know in the tribe and everybody I know that says, hey, nice show, every one of them, 100% of them is trying to get somewhere. I think there's some people out there that ain't trying to go anywhere, and they don't care. No big deal. I'm not mad at them. But everybody I know that seems to tune in here is trying to go somewhere pretty specific. And in order to get from here to there, you have to give yourself a roadmap. And that's pretty much what we're doing. All right, so don't forget now. Here we go. Before I take this break, I'm going to tell you about my giveaway. I'm going to give somebody this book, The One Thing, which I think is a brilliant book. It's very good for your planning purposes. But I want you to go on Road to a Million Show on YouTube. I want you to click like. I want you to click subscribe, and I want you to click that little bell that's going to ring every time I show up online to give you some new stuff. And then tell me who you are in the chat box, and I'm going to pick a name, or Marlon's going to pick a name, and we're going to send somebody this book, The One Thing by Gary Keller, which I think is brilliant and worth having. So we're going to go to a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk some more about goals and how to get your life on track for 2020. Come on. Isn't it about time? I'm Daron Campbell. I'm your real estate mentor. Let's do this together. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
New Jersey did it.
And we are back on the Road to a Million show. I'm Daron C Campbell, the hardest working man in real estate, your real estate mentor. This is our journey to the top, ladies and gentlemen. And I was just telling Marlon we're going to do about 10 or 15 more minutes because I got all these ideas going on in my head. Nick and Marlon and I and Speedy, we powwowed before the show today, and we came up with some brilliant stuff. We really want to grow the show. We really want to be more instrumental, more helpful to you guys. We want to grow the audience. We want you to help us grow the audience. We value you. And a lot of people the people who tune in and meet the guests that I bring on and listen to some of the advice, they seem to love it. And we want more people to get the opportunity to love it. So we're doing some things to try to grow the show. And so we appreciate your help any way you can share it. If you go on Road to a Million Show on YouTube and you click like and subscribe and click that little bell that I didn't know how that thing worked until today, but you click on the little bell and it'll notify you when Road to a Million Show broadcasts a new episode. If you do all that, that'll help me, that'll help us grow. We appreciate you doing that. And of all the people that do that, we're going to pick one and we're going to send them this book. I'm going to sign the book. It's not my book, but I'm going to sign it anyway. And it's by Gary Keller, and it's The One Thing, and it's one of my favorite books. And you guys know I'm a reading junkie. I read approximately 3 books a month, and I've read lots of them, and this is one of the best. So I'm going to give it away. But go to YouTube, go to Road to a Million Show, like, subscribe, click the little bell, and then tell me who you are. Just let me know it's you, and we will we're going to choose a winner of the book. Now, I'm going to digress a little bit because we're talking about goals. We're talking about 2020. We're talking about setting some objectives for yourself, and we're talking about how to make that process start. And I think it starts by, one, thinking big. When I tell you about that 5-year goal that you should write it down and you should start making a vision board, think really big. Don't be shy about thinking big. Here's what I find. If you shoot for really big things, then you can affect a lot of things in a dramatic way. In other words, think a little bigger and think in terms of something that'll really move the needle in your life, if you will. So it would be easy to say, hey, I want to make more money. And by 5 years from now, I want to make a little bit more money. It's a little more ambitious to say by 5 years from now, I will be making $1 million a year consistently. Now that's ambitious. That's a big goal. But think of how your life will be different. Think about how your life will be different if you went for the big thing. Well, what if you went for the $1 million? Think about how your life would be different, vastly different than it is right now if you go for the big goal. If you stop being shy, stop being afraid, realize that plenty of people are out there doing what it is you say you want to do, and go for it. Because here's the thing, a little change. Okay, so maybe you can enjoy a little bit more of life if you make a little bitty change. You say like, I want to make $100,000 a year, and I'll be happy. What if you went for the gusto? What if you went for it? Think of how many people you could really affect. See, I want you to do things that are going to really have an impact. Think of how good you could be to people if you got to that crazy category. Think of how much good you could do the world if you really went for it. I just say think big because why not? If you're going to do something, you might as well do it big and give yourself a realistic window to do it. That's why the 5-year thing is important. 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, and here's how we start tomorrow morning. That's a great way to plan your goals. Now, I was going to digress a little bit because in those categories, your fitness, your financial, your fitness, your family, and your fun, I want you to think real hard about the fitness part. And so I'm going to be bringing more fitness, health, coaching type people onto the show because I think a lot of us think more about our finances and our family and our fun, and we leave out the fit part. And too many of us die too young of too many things that we could have affected. It's if the Russians bomb us and we all die in a nuclear holocaust, there's nothing we could have done about that. But for you to not be fit, for you to have diabetes, for you to have a heart attack, for you to have organ failure, those are things that you can affect. Those are things that you have an impact on. And so I read and recommend this other book that I've told you guys about before. It's called Fit for Life, Not Fat for Life. And the reason that's important, it's a great book, but it's really about the importance of eating living food, eating live food. It's a big fruits and vegetable kind of book. And it doesn't say don't eat meat ever, don't eat animals ever, but it talks about the importance of eating living food. It's called Fit for Life, Not Fat for Life. I think we all got to pay a little bit more attention to our health and our well-being and our wellness and our fitness, because look, what good is all that money if you die an early death? What good is all that money that we all plan to make and we all talk about making if you're going to be 100 pounds overweight? You guys, it's time for a wake-up call. I got a really good friend that's having health issues, and we think it's completely related to too much salt on the food. The doctor said you gotta cut the salt out. Most of the food you eat is already over-salted, and then we go dumping more salt on it. It contributes to high blood pressure, it contributes to kidney failure, and it contributes to early onset of all kinds of bad things that lead to death. You gotta be a little bit more conscious about what you eat, please. Because I want you around. I want to celebrate your success. I want us all to get together and celebrate the victories that are coming our way. But you got to be around to do it. You got to be around to do it. And we all know there's some things we could do to improve the way we live. And so you got to change a little bit. And now's a good time to do it. We're making our goals. We're making our resolutions. We're planning for our success. You got to include your physicality in that equation. All right? So next week, we'll talk about some more stuff, and then I'll give away one of these next week. I'll give away that book next week. But today, we were talking about the one thing. We're giving away the one thing. When you go and click like and subscribe and click the bell and comment, I'm going to choose somebody. I'm going to give that book away, because we are talking about goals. And in the world of goals and what you ought to do tomorrow, we're already down to what you should do to start your process right now. Now, here's what So I pulled some things from this book that are some points that might help you jumpstart your process, okay? You got your 5-year goals written down. You got your 3-year goals written down. You got your 1-year goal written down. And if you notice, you back into what you ought to start doing now. You see, I met with Angie yesterday, and we talked about the goals, and she was saying I went from the start all the way out to the 5-year, but really, when we talked about going backwards, she said, oh, that makes total sense, right, Angie? She said, if you start with the 5-year and then back all the way down into what I should start doing tomorrow, it's a more logical process. See, a lot of people go, okay, let me start by doing this today, and then hopefully 10 years from now, something good will happen. Well, no. Plan what the good is going to be out there in the future, the 5-year, the 3-year, the 1-year, and then suddenly it makes it easy to figure out what you should start doing immediately. It's a very logical process. So let's talk about the immediate. I took some principles from this book, and what really grabbed my attention, this is like the 4th time I read the book, but what he points out in the book is there's some common lies that we tend to believe, and you got to start changing the way you think about certain things. And let me tell you what they are. So, for instance, he said lie number 1, or myth number 1. Call it a lie, call it a myth, same idea. Myth number 1, everything matters equally. That's a myth. It's a total lie, as a matter of fact. For instance, in the real estate business, a lot of people do a lot of things every day in our business. You go to my real estate office, you see a bunch of people doing a lot of things. And they think, here's my list of 12 things I need to do, and it's very important that I do all 12 of these things. Well, the fact is, if you sit down and you examine their list, you probably got a list too. If you sit down and you look at somebody's list, the truth is You might have 12 things on that list, but 2 of those things make a difference and matter way more than the other. So for instance, in real estate, prospecting is the most important thing there is to do. So Marlon and I talk about this all the time. What is the one thing, hey, what's the name of that book? Boom. What is the one thing we need to do every stinking day of the week in order to keep our business growing and proliferating? What is that one thing? So for us, it's prospecting, talking to new people about real estate deals. We need to talk to people every day. Matter of fact, we talk about how we need to bring more people onto our team to help us talk to more people every day, because talking to people every day about real estate is the most important thing we can do. Now, we need to do a whole lot of other stuff. I need to shoot 2 videos a day, according to Marlon. I need to, he needs to put together marketing materials for things we're listing. He needs to, we both, I got a list of about 50 things on it. But there's only one thing that contributes to our current and future income that's consistent every stinking day. And it is prospect for more potential investors, people, clients, buyers, people, partners, et cetera, et cetera. We need to be talking to more people every single day. If we go a day without talking to somebody new or somebody who's a prospect to join us, invest with us, buy from us, partner with us, then that's a lost day. So the possibility of us growing is 0 if we don't do that. That makes that one thing the most important thing we could do. So in your life, in your day, when you talk about starting tomorrow, how do I start, Daron? How do I begin? How do I start? Start thinking about the one thing you can do starting tomorrow that can move the needle for you. What is the one thing that is essential? And that's why in the book, Gary talks about priority. What is your priority? You notice I didn't say priorities. What is your priority? There is one most important thing that you can do and that you can start doing tomorrow that will begin to put you on that path. Now, you got to decide what it is. I can't decide that for you. I know what it is for me, and that's why, just kind of like I told you, Nick and Marlon and I had a meeting this morning, because what do we need to do? We need to reach more people. I want more people to hear this show, because that's the only way my business grows. I need to talk to more people, whether that's picking up the phone, whether that's broadcasting to more people, whether that's figuring out how to get our reach out there further. We need people for our business to exist. So my one thing is more people, talk to more people, reach more people, touch more people. What's your one thing? What's the one thing you know you need to do in order to grow your business? And then here's when we're going to take us to a simple process. You know that one thing. When you figure out what that one thing is, get yourself a calendar and take a big red marker and just simply put a X on that calendar day when you've done that thing. That's it. Keep it simple. If you know you need to cold call every day as a real estate agent, cold call on Monday and put an X on Monday. That's it. Tuesday, make sure you cold call, put that red X on the calendar. Do it again and again and again. And here's the cool thing about it. Once you've strung together 6 or 7 or 10 of those X's, you won't want to break the cycle. You won't let yourself break the cycle. It's like perpetual motion. It's a great way to create a habit. You know, they say it actually takes like 66 days to create a new habit. 66, not 21, not 10, 66. So what you got to do is start putting yourself in the habit of doing the one most important thing every day. You can do one thing. You can consist. If I told you do these 18 things every day, it's hard to pull off. But I'm telling you, think of what the one most important thing is and make it a point to do that every single day. If you want to call it every work day, fine. But Monday through Friday, if that's your work week, you know there's one important thing for you to do. Do that one thing. Forget about the list of 50 things. Those are the things they'll fall into place. But I challenge you to find out what that one most important thing is and make sure you do it every day. All right. That's myth number 1, is that everything matters equally. It does not. Some things matter more. Okay? And it's like when people say, oh, I love everybody. That's a lie. You don't love everybody, and you can't. You can't even love your whole family the same way. You don't even love your family members the same way. Some folks don't even love their kids the same way. You know your junior's a pain in your ass. You don't like him that much, but his sister is cool. So you know that's how it works. We're being honest. You don't love everybody. Not true. And you don't love everybody equally. Not true. So just like tasks, everything matters equally. Not true. All right, myth number two, multitasking is a myth. Whoa, I thought that would hit me hard because I was like, what do you mean it's a myth? I can do multiple things at once. The truth is you cannot. You cannot focus on more than one thing at one time. Think about it. I know you can walk and chew gum, but you can't focus on both at the same time. If you're doing one thing and not thinking about it, it's because you got the motor skills that let that kind of go on autopilot. You cannot focus on more than one thing. So sitting around thinking that, okay, I'm reading this book and I'm watching that television show. The fact is, you're doing both of those things poorly, is what you're doing. You're scattering your focus. You go from the TV to the book, to the TV to the book. You're not focused on anything. There's a cool little saying that in the book that says, it's an old Russian proverb that says, chase 2 rabbits and you catch none. You can only focus on one thing at a time. So forget the multitasking myth and be focused. Whatever you're doing, focus on that at that moment. And then when you're done, go to the next thing, okay? Next, he talks about willpower. And the reason he talks about willpower in the book is because he says willpower is something that comes and goes. So in order to, you can harness your attention and your focus, but it's not always at the same level. So in other words, your willpower waxes and wanes. It comes and it goes. Certain times of the day, you are more powerful than other times of the day. You know it. If you haven't gotten any sleep and you've been up for 13 hours, your willpower, your skill, your focus is not the same as it is at 9 in the morning. So the advice is to plan your most valuable, most critical activities for that time of day or night when you are most effective. A lot of musicians, they sleep all day and then they go in the recording studio in the middle of the night. That's when they do their best work, apparently. And so that's when they find their focus. Maybe it's because the world is quiet outside and the phone's not ringing and they can dive in, right? I heard that Stephen King, the writer, hey, his first 4 hours of the day are when he writes. Between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m., he locks out the rest of the world and focuses on writing the next book. Is he still alive? Did Stephen King die? I might be talking about him in the past tense then. But the fact is, all of his best writing, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., lock everything else out. And that's kind of where Marlon and I are going with our prospecting, business building activities. Hit them up in the morning when we're most focused, when we're most driven, and then everything else after that. Think about it. Your willpower is not 24/7. Channel your best activities, your most valuable activities, your most important activities, that one thing you know you need to do, and do it when you're at your peak state. For many of us, it's the morning. For many of us, it's after we work out in the morning. For me, it's have a cup of coffee, work out, and then get on it. And that's when I'm at my best. You got to decide when it is for you. But it's not consistent. You're not the same at 9 p.m. as you are at 11 a.m. Think about it. All right. Myth number 5. And the book emphasizes this stuff, so you guys got to read the book. It's the myth of a balanced life. A balanced life. And this is funny because we all say, we want to have a balanced life, and we say that because it sounds good. It's like honorable to have a balanced life. The truth is, if you really want to make something happen, sometimes you get out of balance. If you really want to move the needle in your life, sometimes you gotta drop everything and focus on that thing. And sometimes that will be out of balance. I remember my buddy that sold the company for $250 million. You know what he said? He said, you know how I got here in such a short period of time? He says, because in the beginning, if I needed to work 22 hours a day and never leave the office, that's what I did. He goes, I did whatever it took to make the company go. And guess what? He was about as out of balance at that period of time as you can imagine, but he needed to do what he needed to do. And that means sometimes getting out of balance. It's okay. It's not a sin, you guys. It's okay. If you got a mission to accomplish, then you got to accomplish that mission. Think of a farmer. When the crop is ready to be picked, you think the farmer says, well, I'm only going to put in 4 hours of that because, I do this for 4 hours and I'll harvest for 4 hours and then I'll go sleep for 8 hours. No, they harvest until the whole harvest has been picked and pulled, right? So he's out of balance for that week. When it's time to pick the fruit or time to pick the crop, he's out of balance. You do whatever you got to do. You work 24/7 if you need to. So don't be afraid of getting a little bit out of balance when the moment is critical. You know how they say you got to make hay when the sun is shining, and the sun don't shine 24/7. You got to get your work done when the appropriate time is there, and you do whatever you got to do to get there. Understood? You see, when I first started in the real estate business, somebody told me, he said, listen, if you got no deals, if you got nothing going on, you got nothing to do but get on that telephone and start calling folks. And you do it as long as it takes until you make something happen. So for me, that's all you had to do is tell me that once. I was on that phone for 8 to 10 hours a day. What is that? That's doing whatever the hell you got to do in order to make something happen. And so sometimes you are going to be way out of balance, but if it's so that you can get to your long-term objective, it's worth it. Okay? All right, and then the final myth, the final lie that we are told or have been conned into believing is that big is bad. That a big dream, a big goal, a big objective, a big income is less than honorable. And I agree 1,000% with the concept that is false. I would say the opposite is true. The bigger, the better. How are you going to impact the world? How are you going to help your whole family out if you don't go for the big goal, the big brass ring? I think it's selfish to go for the small stuff. I think if you just want to make enough so you do well, I think you're being a little selfish. I think you should think big and think, you know what? I'm going to make so much money that I'm going to hire all my cousins and friends, and I'm going to take the whole family on 2 vacations a year, and I'm going to include everybody who deserves being included, and that's how we're going to roll. I think that's a better way to go. I think you got to stretch your goals, stretch the objective, think way bigger than you're currently thinking, and then when you're halfway there or a third of the way there, you've made some serious progress. Think about it. If you remember the 5-year income goal we mapped out? Okay, so if you're going to make $1 million in 5 years, you're going to be making $1 million a year. Think about year 3. Oh my God, in year 3, I only made $600,000. Think of the impact you have on your life and other people's lives while you're making $600,000. You're only 60% of the way to your goal. But your goal is so big and so bright and so ambitious that 60% is a big fat number. Are you gonna be mad making $600,000 and you're only like halfway through to your goal? You gonna be upset? Are you gonna be living poorly? Are you gonna be disappointed? You're gonna be having so much fun on this journey because halfway there is $600,000 coming your way. Do you understand? Do you understand how that works? If the goal is big enough, then the process is a whole lot more fun getting there. All right? So forget the big is bad. Forget the big and lofty and ambitious is dishonorable, because it's not. It's honorable to win big. It's very honorable to become really, really wealthy. It's really honorable to make a whole lot of money and not have to apologize for it. There's no shame in winning big. No shame. Look, let me tell you something. People say, Bill Gates, who would ever need $90 billion? Well, guess what? Do you know what that man and his wife are doing with that fortune? They are literally changing the lives of hundreds of thousands of people who don't have health care all over the world. All over the world. Now, if Bill Gates had quit when he had $5 million and said, well, that's enough is enough. I just want my share, and me and my wife will be comfortable for the rest of our lives because we got $5 million. If he stopped there, look at how many lives would not be getting affected. This man says, screw it. Let's make all the money. 90 billion is great. Let's make another 100 billion in the rest of our lifetime so we can affect lots of people. I want you to go big. I want you to think big. I want you to get ambitious and don't apologize. Okay? So we just went through the 6 myths, the 6 lies. They're touched on in this book, but the crux of the book, the one thing, which has been our topic today along with our goal setting, is that always narrow it down to the what is it I should be doing that's the most important thing that can get me on the path to my goal. That's the moral of the story. That's why we highlighted that book. That's why I'm going to give that book away. That's why I want you to go on Road to a Million Show on YouTube, click subscribe, click like, tell me who you are, and click that little bell because it's going to remind you when we are on the air. Woo! This was fun today. I'm so excited about what's coming up, you guys. The ideas are swirling in my brain. The Road to a Million Show is only about to get better. So keep tuning in because we're going to keep bringing you the good stuff. Hey, come check us out on the next show because we're going to put Speedy on that path. Speedy's going to own a house, and we're going to make it happen. On Thursday, we're going to have our credit repair specialist here with us, and we're going to bring Speedy in here, and we're going to start getting that man's life together, and he's going to own a home, and the goal is March 31st. We're going to have Speedy in the house by March 31st. Whoa! You get to watch it all happen here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great show. I'm wrapping it up right now because I'm Daron C Campbell. I'm the hardest working man in real estate. I'm your real estate mentor, and I'll see all of you at the top. Peace.
Darzy did it.